transparent system that protects veterans from unjustified persecution, but also gives victims, families and survivors the confidence that they need in the process.
Paul Wall.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Workers in Rochdale on the minimum wage received a much-needed pay rise this summer, thanks to this government. But honest businesses are being undermined by the menace of illegal working, particularly illegal working by illegal migrants from Iran and Iraq in bogus barbershops and fake vape shops. So will the Prime Minister agree with me that we need to speed up the rollout of digital ID, particularly to help our police and immigration staff crack down on this grey market that ruins our high streets and undercuts the workers' pay of British workers?
Well, my honourable friend is an excellent champion for Rochdale and a strong supporter, I know, of his local police and trading standards teams. Since we came to power, Mr. Speaker, we've ramped up enforcement raids on illegal working, arrests have gone up by 50%, and we're tightening the law on delivery drivers. Digital ID will help us tackle illegal working, and we're rolling out the use of e-visas to have digital records of immigration status and checks to allow on-the-spot checks of anybody's right to work.
James McCleary.
Severe pregnancy sickness, hyperemesis gravidarum or HG, can mean vomiting more than 20 times a day. It causes physical discomfort, acute malnutrition and severe dehydration, which often leads to hospitalisation. It has profound and long-lasting mental health consequences. Recently, it was reported the woman took her own life after being denied access to the only licensed treatment, Zomvia. Tragically, her unborn child died too. The drug is licensed and available, yet women face a cruel postcode lottery to access it. Will the Prime Minister work urgently with the Department for Health to end this scandal so that every woman who needs Zomvia can get it wherever she lives? And will he meet with me and campaigners to look at this as a matter of urgency?
Prime Minister.
Well, thank him for raising this really important issue, and obviously incredibly sorry to hear about the tragic case that he mentions. As he will know, the availability of this drug is regulated across the NHS by NICE, who make decisions on which treatments provide the best care for patients whilst maintaining value for money with the taxpayer. But I will make sure that he gets a meeting with the relevant minister to see what more can be done to get this treatment to patients who need it.
Navandu Mishra.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in Stockport, approximately 20% of families live in social housing. After Stockport Liberal Democrat and Conservative councillors blocked the Greater Manchester Spatial Framework proposal in 2020, the need for social housing is even more critical. Far too many families are living in insecure, overcrowded accommodation, waiting years for a suitable family home. I welcome Labour's record-breaking £39 billion investment into social and affordable housing, and I want to make sure that communities like mine in Stockport are prioritised. So can I ask the Prime Minister to confirm that these homes will be built, they will be affordable, and will he look again at suspending the right to buy?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we are delivering the biggest boost to social and affordable housing in a generation, and proud to do so. Our £39 billion investment will deliver around 300,000 sociable and affordable homes, with at least 60% of homes delivered for social rent. Mr. Speaker, whilst we don't intend to remove the right to buy, which helps social tenants get on the property ladder, we're reforming the scheme to protect social housing stock and encourage councils to deliver more new homes.
Sir Julian Smith.
Mr. Speaker, a much better understanding of the particular needs of autistic and neurodiverse children is vital to expand capacity in Main Street education for SEND pupils. Can I urge him, as he looks at this bill over the summer, the SEND bill, to introduce mandatory training for all teachers and all staff on autism and neurodiversity?
Prime Minister.
Can I thank him for that contribution, because parents and children have been failed far too often. We are committing an additional £1 billion into SEND, but there must be meaningful reform alongside it, and new teachers must have the appropriate training. So we're committed to reviewing, to working with parents and teachers, and we'll take away his suggestion, and I invite him and others across the House to work with us on this important reform, because I think this issue has been raised more than any other with me at Prime Minister's question. It's clearly a broken system, it needs reform, and if we can work together across the House to get it right, I think that is the least we owe to parents and children across the country. Thank you.
Blocker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I commend the Prime Minister for his work in tackling arbitrary detention of British citizens abroad and warmly welcome the creation of a special envoy. The Prime Minister will know of the anguish of the families of Jimmy Lai, Ryan Cornelius, Abdel Fattah, Jagtar Singh Johal and others. So can he tell us when he anticipates the appointment of the envoy, and will they have real powers like their counterparts in Canada and the United States to help bring our people home?
Prime Minister.
Well, can I start by thanking him for his work on the APBG, championing the plight of British nationals facing the most difficult circumstances overseas. We do routinely raise these cases with international counterparts, as he would expect, and we're deeply committed to getting them home and united with their loved ones. As part of strengthening support for British nationals overseas, we are working at pace to get the envoy role set up, and I'll make sure that he's kept updated in relation to that.
Blake Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Government plans for English devolution and NHS reform suggest that integrated care boards should align with new strategic authorities. The government's plan for Bedfordshire won't currently achieve this. So what assurances can the Prime Minister provide that local NHS reorganisation will be good value for money, improve local accountability and deliver the healthcare services needed to serve my constituents in rural mid-Bedfordshire, including the much-needed GP surgery in Wixham's?
Prime Minister.
The points to make about good value for money and accountability are really important. They're embedded in the work we're doing with the NHS at the moment, which is improving under our watch, not only the waiting lists, but in other respects. The 10-year plan for the NHS, which is intended to ensure that the NHS is fit for the future, has a number of principles, including principles of local accountability.
Brandish.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. On the 11th of June, Alexander Dennis announced that it was planning to stop bus manufacturing in Scotland. My honourable friend from Falkirk and I have both met with the workers, the trade unions, the company and both UK and Scottish Government ministers to see how closure can be averted. Alexander Dennis needs commitment of orders for 2025 and 2026, and elected mayors are ideally placed to do this. Our industrial strategy is right when it says where things are made and by whom matters. So, can the Prime Minister assure Alexander Dennis and the workers that he believes bus manufacturing should have a future in Larbert and Falkirk?
Prime Minister.
I'm grateful to him for raising this, and I'm deeply concerned. It is a deeply concerning time for the workers and their families in Falkirk. I do agree, and we are working with mayors and local leaders to develop a pipeline of future orders for zero emissions buses, and that's an important aspect here. And the Minister of Local Transport is hosting an urgent meeting of the bus manufacturing expert panel. Mr. Speaker, while Labour mayors in England are ordering Scottish buses, the SNP are ordering buses from China. Just like they ordered ships from Turkey and Poland, not Scottish shipyards. The SNP should be backing Scottish workers.
Graham Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Could I begin by warmly congratulating the Prime Minister on his first year in office, acknowledge that the Labour manifesto was beautifully written, deeply moving, and like that other great blockbuster of hope and redemption, The Salt Path, a total pack of lies. With joblessness, inflation and debt ballooning, his personal ratings collapsing, and his backbenchers on a work to rule, could the Prime Minister recommend?
Come on, let's get on with the question.
Could the Prime Minister recommend a summer recess read in order to take all our minds away from the calamitous journey on which he and the Chancellor have embarked?
I think most of their backbenchers are already on their summer recess, looking at the benches opposite, Mr. Speaker. We are very proud of our manifesto. It was a very successful manifesto, giving a landslide victory, and now we're very proud to be implementing it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And let us be clear in this House. Israel is starving Palestinian children. That is a war crime. Israel is killing Palestinian children as they queue for food. That is a war crime. Our government quite rightly imposes thousands of sanctions on Russia for its war crimes in Ukraine. How many more horrors must we witness before the Prime Minister acts with the same scale of sanctions against Israel to stop this genocide? Don't Palestinian lives matter?
Hear, hear. Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, as I said earlier, I'm appalled by reports of more civilians being killed in Gaza, particularly when they are trying to access aid. And each of those incidents does need to be fully and transparently investigated, with accountability for any failing. That, of course, has to be alongside the ceasefire that is desperately needed, and we're working hard with others to achieve, to release all of the hostages that remain, but also to protect civilians and get much more aid at speed and volume into Gaza.
Lincoln John.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I can see why you call these sessions Prime Minister's questions and not Prime Minister's answers.
If it carries on, there will be no more. Come on, Lincoln John.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Following the magnificent success of the England cricket team earlier on this week, and the triumphal return of Mr. Jofra Archer, would the Prime Minister agree that what he needs to get from his ministers over the next 12 months is more pace and less spin?
Prime Minister.
My ministers have delivered on the NHS, on the economy, on rail, etc. He needs a break.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Successive Conservative governments failed to invest in the North East transport infrastructure. Whilst the Labour government is already changing that with the £1.8 billion recently secured for the region, upgrading Moor Farm and Seaton Burn roundabouts can build on that, unlocking growth, and it's supported by local people and businesses. Does the Prime Minister share my disappointment that rather than support my campaign for upgrades, the Conservative leadership in Northumberland County Council are actively undermining my lobbying efforts to deliver this game changer for the North East?
Prime Minister.
She's doing a superb job for Northumberland, and I'm happy to set out what we've delivered. Over £400 million of funding for Northumberland County Council this year. That's a 5.8% increase this year, Mr. Speaker, an 80% increase in the number of homes starting construction in her area, a near £30 million increase in funding for Northumbria Police, and 14 free breakfast clubs in Northumberland, supporting over 3,000 children. That's the difference a Labour government makes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. During my meetings with guests on the Homes for Ukraine scheme in my Newton Abbot constituency, they are telling me that they are worried about their visas running out, even with the 18-month extension. They see reports of Ukrainians being refused asylum in the UK since it's said to be safe to return to Ukraine, even while Putin's missiles explode in Ukraine cities.
and the most water-stressed area in the country. The proposed Fens Reservoir is important, but will only provide water for the already ambitious house-building plans, not the thousands of new homes that the government proposes. Does the Prime Minister agree with me that the water crisis in Greater Cambridge is a deal-breaker for the government's growth plans, and will he help me urgently convene a ministerial roundtable with the Cambridge Water Scarcity Group?
She's right to draw attention to the drought and the question more generally of reservoirs. It is shocking that a new reservoir hasn't been built for a very, very long time, not at all in the previous 14 years. We are rebuilding now, and we're doing that alongside the infrastructure and housing that we also need to build, and we'll work across the House on that.
We'll let the front benches change over.